Sweat Equity Podcast is streaming show, the number one comedy business podcast in the world. Doing a little different today. We have scheduling snafu. I miss my heterosexual life mate, Eric. But we'll be back better than ever next episode. For this episode, make sure to check out our sponsor, Squarespace. Episode sponsored by Squarespace, the all-in-one customizable. Ooh, this is going to be a rough go at it. Customizable website where you can. It's as easy as a template to just have your own personal website where you can have your resume, your brand, your message, or it's scalable. If you need a custom code, you need a program, you need to add anything. We've done so many websites in Squarespace. You can start your free trial and hook up this show by hitting the display, the little linky link, the Zelda link in the episode description. Make sure to be our BFFs by subscribing to the show, sharing it with a friend. Say, hey, these guys are a couple of knuckleheads. They're a couple of rascals getting into a lot of trouble. Give us a 5-star review. Write a little sentence about us. It can be anything, like Law's flaccid package probably is scary small. And then share the show. Share it with someone. That's all you got to do.
Sweat equity. Sweat equity. Sweat equity. Sweat equity. Sweat equity.
You are listening to the Sweat Equity Podcast.
So, I'm rolling solo on this podcast. We had a scheduling snafu. It happens every now and again. And what usually happens is one of us will say, maybe I'll record solo. And then it goes, oh, that sounds great. And then we never do it. And I was thinking about that today, and I was like, all right, no matter how awkward it is to attempt to Bill Burr this episode or Tim Dillon this, doing a kind of a monologue, it's one of those things where why not take 10 minutes and do this? And then I'm going to put in a podcast interview I did with the Matt Bolliker podcast, an old buddy of mine. We talk a lot of comedy and business. And I re-looked at the video. I kind of look like I'm on NyQuil for some reason. I'm real low key, like talking like I'm a former, just like a former rapper. Just like, yeah, it's real cool. Yeah, whatever. Like real low voice. I don't know what's wrong with me that day, but it's a good discussion nonetheless. And I think I dispensed some wisdom. So I want to bring up one thing I saw today. I thought this was pretty cool. I'm trying to do the tech part of this while talking. I read a post by Alex Hormozi, Hormozi, managing partner at acquisition.com, in his LinkedIn little, slogan blurb that you can put on your profile. I put, we help scale founder-led companies to 100 million. Now, never met the guy. I saw this liked by someone else, and it was an image that has a tweet from him that says, how to stay poor. Do the following. And so I'll read this. I'll try to read this as best I can. I'm not a good reader, but these are all things if you want to stay poor. Stay busy, accomplish nothing. Start tomorrow. Read books, do nothing. Take advice from poor people on how to get rich, which is the old joke of like, why would I take, fitness advice from a fat person? Pick a spouse who makes you feel guilty about working. That's a tough one. Fail once, quit forever. Blame your circumstances. And if I find myself doing that, I always try to catch myself and go, no, it's on me. Blame other people. Same. Expect the government to save you. That's a tough one, but you know, and if you're struggling, it should only be the last resort. I think. I've been unemployed a bunch of times since I got into the working world. Never taken unemployment. Not because I didn't want to use it as a crutch. Value the opinions of others over your own. So that's interesting. Complain. Now, that's the only one on this list that I'll kind of say I like complaining. I'm rarely pissed about what I'm complaining about. I just think it's kind of funny to vent about small things. Like I bought some high noons and I saw them last second, but I was about to buy a big, truly like huge, like the biggest can you can buy, I guess. And I'm like, that's just malt liquor. That's what's so funny about Truly. You're just drinking malt liquor packaged differently. Anyway, back to this list. Think the world is fair. Yeah. Avoid discomfort. Tolerate mediocrity. Make promises, break promises. Wait for perfect conditions. Prioritize looking rich over being rich. That's the $100,000 millionaire. Avoid working on what matters most. Find something that works. Stop doing it. Assume you're always right. Always take it personally. Then get emotional. I wish every adult read this list. Increase your income. Increase your expenses even more. Yeah, that's a lot of people. Stay undecided. I do have a problem being friends with people that can't make a decision. It drives me nuts. And then I look like the asshole because I freak out. Compare yourself to people poorer than yourself to feel better. Yeah. I mean, don't do it out loud. But I have been thinking on this theory of like happiness is relative, right? Like if you are lower class income earning in the United States, $34,000 puts you in the 1% of the world or something like that. So, by thinking of all the poor people in the world, you might feel better. But really, it's relative to where you are, and in the United States, that's a tough ways to have. I think about it driving, right? I'm mad. I only go 9 miles over the speed limit, and I'm mad if I can't do that. And if I see someone going by me, I made a bad decision and got behind a slow Subaru lesbian driving with her fat Birkenstocks on the brake mostly. And I chose poorly and I got zoomed around. I get pissed because my happiness is relative to being ahead of the people that were behind me. It's weird. Do what everyone else is doing except to get something different. Yeah, that's interesting. Do whatever else is doing, expect to get something different. Yeah, I guess if you're doing your squats, getting your leg power going, and you think you're going to get big biceps by doing that instead of massive quads, good hamstrings, nice glutes. I can see that. Yeah, okay. Do things to make everyone else happy. Yeah, this is this is one a lot of people I've been talking to lately, especially entrepreneurs, myself included, is like you got to take 10 minutes a day to think about the day. Did you get the stuff you needed to do? Did you prioritize that first over trying to help people out? I used to spread myself too thin, and you know, I had to realize I couldn't work at the same clip I used to, as well as it's just not good for me for a lot of things. I was taking on a lot of stuff that really didn't matter. But it wasn't a people pleaser thing though. Someone called me a people pleaser. I was like, I tell people to fuck off all the time. Show up late or not at all. This is my biggest like pet peeve in life. People who are constantly late. And I don't get mad. I never get mad at like people I don't know I'm meeting with, or I don't know very well, and they're late. It has to be a pattern, and it has to be there is this just type of person, they'll never get it. This is what bothers me. It's not that hard. I'm glad I got it instilled in me in high school because of football. We have 6 a.m. practices in August, and if you weren't there at 5:45, you were deemed out because you're not 15 minutes early, you're late. And it's like the best rule. It's dorky, and it's I may get places a little bit early, but getting places early is not that big of a deal anymore. You have a goddamn computer in your pocket that you could dick around on until whoever gets there. For me, I could always sit down and just write jokes or a to-do list or something. I'll keep myself occupied for the however many minutes, but showing up late and consistently doing it is horrendous behavior, because it's a subconscious control thing. Your time's more valuable than the other person's. Anyway, last one. Never prepare. Yeah, this is another little one that I had to knock off a little bit. Preparing's not sexy. It's not romantic. Preparation isn't it isn't one-to-one. Whatever you prepare will be executed. However, the most successful people I know prep their life, work, everything. They try to think 3 steps ahead. And the people that are constantly kind of in that hectic, I'm always late, kind of like always in a tizzy, like, like so much anxiety. Preparation will reduce anxiety. And really, if you're a professional, if you really kind of take pride in what you do, you should spend that time prepping. No one has to see you either. It's not cool to prepare. But like, no one wants to see you work on a joke or figure out how the sausage is made of a joke because it's a magic trick. And same goes for some work deliverables you're doing. If everybody knows you stayed up around the clock, they'll think you're just not efficient. But if you can prepare and deliver, sometimes, one of the best things I've been doing lately is before I walk into a meeting, I go, what do I want to get out of this meeting? Or sometimes just lunch. Like, I'm trying to make an effort to see friends that we all have kids now, little kids. And so it's like, I'm trying to make a conscious effort to see them. And then when I see them, let's see if we can hang out again. Let's book something next month, because I live near all my best friends, or a lot of them, and I rarely see them. So like preparing in that situation, just little things, Anyway, he put in at the end, I'd love to know which one was the hardest hitting, most relevant for you. And then the comments are pretty funny because a lot of people take this emotionally. I do like one that said discomfort is a gift. Yeah, I try to make myself either physically or personally uncomfortable doing something. And that includes like trying to learn a new skill on the fly. If you're a chat GPT person and you're trying to figure it out on the fly because you're a little behind, you feel behind the million people that signed up. Yeah, I get that. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. I thought I'd share it. I hope this all comes out in the final version of this. Let's see if I can get it all up. I got 2 hours until the end of Wednesday. All right, enjoy this interview I did with my buddy from LA, Matt Bolliker, Matty Ball Game.
This is Law
Peace.
Smith, and you're listening to the Matt Bolliker podcast.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you once again for joining the Matt Bolliker podcast. Please encourage your friends, acquaintances, those you haven't spoken with in 7 to 10 years to like, subscribe, and share. We really appreciate it. Today, I am particularly excited because our guest is not only a longtime friend of mine, he's a comedian, host of the Sweat Equity podcast, a digital marketing expert who never misses leg day. Please join me in welcoming Law Smith to the program. How you doing, Law?
Yay. I'm going to keep the shades on for those.
Please do. When you're as hot as you are, you got to do anything to kind of help the rest of us have a chance. So I appreciate that, Law.
I'm just not having the skin day I want, I am a summer, but it is, I think I need to drink some more water. Can I throw out, speaking of like kind of merging these two worlds, comedy and business, that's kind of what our podcast is about, sweatequitypod.com, if anybody wants to check it out.
Oh, they do.
It's, I don't know if you ever did writing, like writing exercises to write jokes, like a thing to get you going,
Yeah, just something to kind of grease the wheels a little bit, to get you out of your head a bit.
And then, like when you first start doing stand up, you kind of do it. You're kind of doing it all the time, and then it becomes like second nature. It's called like dad jokes now, kind of thing. Like you make puns, wordplay. I think sometimes puns could be the most clever thing. So I was doing this on our podcast last night, and I've got an adult beverage to my right here, left on your screen probably, and. Okay, so I've made this white trash cocktail that my fanciest gay friend even admits it's amazing. I'll tell your audience.
You got the seal of approval. If your fanciest gay friend admits it, then you're in good company.
He's a fancy old gay too, so he doesn't put up with a lot of stuff.
No,
he's very particular. He's a branding expert out of St. Pete. Shout out to David Downing.
What's up, David Downing? How are you?
It is Tito's vodka. Put it in like a big tumbler, what I call a game day cup, something over 16 ounces. And then throw some ice in there, Tito's vodka, and Diet Canada Dry Ginger Ale and lemonade, the diet version or zero sugar version. It is exquisite. So I was trying to think of a name forever. This has taken me months. This is all I've been doing all summer.
Productive summer. I like it.
Well, you have to have these you're like, oh, I created an amazing thing that I'm not going to really profit off of, but I'm going to tell everybody about it because I love it so much. Again, part of what our show is for the podcast we do, Sweat Equity, is at least give some kind of pragmatic advice one episode, some little nugget at every episode. And so I'm like, I got to come up with a name, and it was beating me down. Like you can't get the Wordle of the day or something, or, and so I thought about it. I go, all right, a iced tea and lemonade is what's that together?
Is Arnold Palmer.
Okay. What's iced tea, lemonade, and vodka?
Long Island.
No, it's a John Daly.
Oh,
I'm surprised not a lot of people know that. I asked my co-host on the show.
I didn't know, but I wanted John Daly even more than ever.
It's a perfect name for him. It's a perfect drink name.
You might need to have like a Marlboro to stir it together.
Right. And then I go, okay, this is Canadian and it's got a blonde hue to it. And I go, oh, it hit me like Monday night. And I was just like, 2 nights ago, I was like, oh, I know the name. It's a Mayor Rob Ford. It gives you the gusto to just say crazy stuff. And it's kind of kick ass like him. So
We could all use some more gusto. So I know we met in the early 2000s in LA, but that's not where you grew up. So where did you grow up, Law?
I grew up in Tampa. I'm a townie, one of the few, the proud, one of the few families that's like been around this city for a while. Now I'm back in Tampa. I went to Auburn for undergrad school, and then right after, like,
Yeah, so let's pause there for a second.
Oh,
Don't you have some family connections to Auburn, like you and or Bo Jackson?
So my big brother's Bo Jackson. My
I see the
cousin
resemblance.
is Charles Barkley. My uncle is Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple. My baseball coach was the big hurt, Frank Thomas. Not a big deal. Literally, all those reasons are like half the reason I went there. The other half was I got in. My real family all went to Florida. I couldn't get in by the time I was applying, and I ditched my loyalty to the Gators. My dad played for the Gators, played for the LA Rams, and then Redskins.
Oh, you actually play. That's right. Because were he and Bo Jackson on the same team at some point? Or?
My dad's about to turn 75.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say like, like I don't know. Both probably early 60s. Okay.
So OJ was number 1 in the overall draft. He was 8th, and I think the 3rd running back taken. If you want to Google image 1969 Playboy All-American team, you'll see a guy that looks like a bigger me next, like literally 2 feet from OJ on the team kind of picture. They're all wearing their own uniform kind of thing.
That sounds fun. So I'm sure you had no complexes as a kid if you're into sports and your father was a NFL draft pick.
So my high school coach, I loved playing high school football. I had to quit because I got too many concussions before they were in.
Oh, you were an early you quit before CTE was even cool. So
yeah,
way to be ahead of the curve.
I would go partially blind. I was an outside linebacker. I'm 5'11". I think at that point I was like 210, just like working out like crazy because you're 17 and you have like literally nothing else to do.
Right.
So I'd go do 3 hours of practice and then go lift. And what's it called? I would, if I got my bell rung, I could, if you broke your vision into 4 columns, like quadrants, I couldn't see like the 3rd one. I could see all the way to my right, like peripheral.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't see like center to right kind of thing. It would be like a light right turn if you're thinking, like if you're driving. And so if you're playing outside linebackers, there's 3 wide receivers on your side. They're going trips on you. You're supposed to shade over because you're going to go into coverage probably unless you're blitzing. I couldn't even see these guys. I could see the wide receiver all the way, the furthest one, but I couldn't see the guys on the inside. And I was like, this is a problem. And so, my dad actually didn't want me to play football. My mom did. But
did he not want you to play for health reasons or just because he knew you couldn't live up to his legacy?
Well, I was like a good street player, up until 8th grade. They didn't let me play like real football until high school. And then that first day I ate McDonald's on the way to try out practice.
That's what you do, man.
Well, I was like, this will be easy. This will be like playing pickup.
Sure.
And I was my height, at 8th grade.
Oh, wow. Okay. Big kid.
Kind of, like pretty, yeah. My dad's 6'4", 220. So like he played like Eddie George.
Okay.
Very fast.
Not a lot of wiggle, just run you over.
Yeah, one cut, very, very fast. There's an old Gatorade commercial with him winning the Orange Bowl in 1967. Spurrier won the Heisman that year. He was his quarterback. There's an old Gatorade commercial that shows him. And so my thing was like, oh, I could walk into this, and I just got my shit rocked that first day, and threw up all that McDonald's, and I think about it now. It's been 20 years since I played, over 20 years, and I'm like, I can't imagine that I was out. Like, you're hot, you're in California, your heat is like, you can get under the shade, it's not as bad, right? Like, ours is like, you feel the humidity from the grass up, you know.
There's no escaping.
But I had a good coach who was like, you know, he coached Lou Pinella's son. I went to Tampa Jesuit, and so I guess Lou Pinella's son may have had some issues, like he couldn't live up to his dad. And by the time I was talking to my coach about that, I was like, no. I mean, I think I was pretty practical. Like, I'm probably not going to go to the NFL. I get huge, and like, if I get to my dad's size, maybe I'll go to play college. I probably could have walked on, maybe D3, D2, strong safety somewhere. But it was that thing of like, I was already pretty funny in class. And so that was kind of, I when I went out for parties, you know, it was more about, not as much about hooking up as much as like, did I get the funniest like quip in? Did
my
like,
zing win? Yeah.
Right. And my friends are all not comics in real life. I'm still friends with all of them, and they're funnier than most comics I know. You know, like they'll kill me in a party. If we're trying to be funnier than each other. So yeah.
Well, I want to talk about your comedy career, but before that, like, you're a dad as well, and you and I grew up in a time when middle-class kids played tackle football. What do you think now? Like, would you let your son play like Pop Warner or high school?
I like Adam Carolla's theory on it. You know, you could not let him play and be safe, but you know, being a pussy your whole life it'll carry on. And so I just made all your female listeners shut off.
Well, if they watch us with the sound off, they'll be very happy.
Now I'm divorced, so I'm solo.
AKA available. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm solo dadding it half the time. You know,
Okay.
I know their mom wants them to play basketball, like all the non-contact stuff. My thing is, I don't want to force them to play anything. I want to see what they kind of take to, and if they like it, yeah, we'll go through with it. I mean, if you're really talking statistically, like, football is fine, right? My dad is like, I just talked to him today for 30 minutes on the phone. He's 74. He played all 6 years in the NFL. He's all banged up physically. He's got scars everywhere. He's got no cartilage in his knees.
Of course not.
You know, and so it's that thing of like, but he still reads like a Gore Vidal book a night. You know, he like, yeah, he's like, he's a crazy modest dude, but like he crushes like history books. He's still in it in the conversations where I think some of his friends are starting to fade out. So and then you really break down statistics. I try not to buy into fear movements, you know.
You've had a miserable 20 years.
Well, I just stopped watching the news altogether. And
good advice.
My theory now is just like, if it's really important, it's going to make its way to me. You know, and I kind of obsessively listen to podcasts while I work. Because a lot of marketing is boring when you're actually doing the work. But
yeah, real marketing is surprisingly analytical and like math driven. It's not just like pretty pictures and
it's
cool slogans.
We're way far away from the Mad Men era of pitching like a whole campaign for a cigarette company or you know, a Native American themed airline or whatever. You know, it's like creative is like 1/12 of marketing now to me. Like, people overvalue it in a lot of ways. There's a lot of other steps to there, and I'm a mathlete. I got all A's in math that carried me through high school. I got into entrepreneurship and family business management at Auburn, and everything kind of clicked after that. Like a C+ my whole life. Got into that major, which was like writing business plans for local businesses and stuff.
So you had a major that could actually help you make money post college.
Not right away. I mean, if I maybe, yeah, maybe I I didn't know how much I had that entrepreneurial kind of like mindset.
But it's not like medieval folklore. I mean, like you can apply skills you learned at Auburn
Oh yeah,
to something
yeah.
that people will pay you to do.
No, I thought it was the best. Like I loved it. Our professor, who like I think in those junior senior year classes, we probably had him like 6 to 8 classes throughout those 4 semesters. So we got to know him really well. Dr. Kincaid over there, and he was a consultant when he wasn't teaching. He just did the teaching for fun.
Mhm.
Like I just signed up to be a mentor, and they're like, "Why do you want to do this?" I was like, "Because teaching makes me better at what I'm doing. It's gonna make me kind of formalize a lot of thoughts. It's gonna make me better at."
Yeah, it forces you to get organized too. If you have to distill something down in easily
Yeah.
digestible packets and share it with students.
Well, the beauty of doing stand up, though, is you develop this muscle. I mean, you've been
Mhm.
doing it probably as long as I have, right? Like
Mhm.
I really started probably 06, 07. And then, wasn't getting up at the clip, I would say, most comics do those first 5 years out in LA for sure. I was getting up
Right.
300 mics a year kind of thing. And then like, I moved back here to Tampa, can't get up as much. Now the scene's crazy, but, I had to make my own shows, and I had to,
Right.
I met my then girlfriend that was going to become my wife, and she was a comic too. And so it was kind of like, I couldn't get up as much definitely when you have kids. So it's like,
Yeah.
I always say I'm like 15 years in, but it's still like a lot of those years were half years, like,
Yeah. No, I probably started about at least 20, 21 years ago, but there were chunks, especially when kids came in, where they're very truncated.
well,
And then, yeah.
for
how it
your
goes.
listeners, why this matters is because we have guilt, because like comedy is very entrepreneurial, and now a lot of comics are stepping up to that. Like it used to be very gross to talk business in the comedy
Mhm.
world, and now it's like, no, everybody has to make their own path, right? We've all kind of realized it. And so what you and I are like kind of dancing around is the guilt of not getting up and not hustling as much as we maybe should have.
There's always something more to do. There's a booker to call. There's a open mic to go to. There's notebooks to scratch. I mean, there's always something more you can be doing.
Yeah. On the other side of that coin is you have to have a life worth talking about. And so like, that's why a lot of comics had airplane jokes, right? Because that's
Right.
all they were doing was traveling. So, you have to have an interesting life, or be, sometimes just be around things that, something interesting might happen here.
Yeah, this is a question I generally ask later in interviews, but now's a good time. Like, what do you know now about stand-up law that you wish you knew when you started?
Maybe more like habits of writing. Our friend Mark Franco said something early in my career. I think it was the first road gig I did. I did it with him. We flew from LA to like St. Augustine. Yeah, sweet. And he said, you're a great writer. You're the laziest effing rewriter. And because he's like, you'll get to a B- of that joke, and then you stop working on it. And I'm like,
Mhm.
And he got cut right to me, and he was blasted drunk. And I was like, what does he know? But I rewrite it on my notebooks to remind myself a lot. That's a hole in my game, and sitting down and having those habits, I'm still reworking them now.
Mhm.
I always feel like I should try to do creative in the morning, but I need like 2 hours before I talk to someone in the morning. So, I'm usually like podcast and maybe go work out or something.
Right.
Get those yah-yahs out. I don't know. I didn't come from a lot of trauma, so I don't have those kind of stories to rely on. They say,
Yeah, I used to be angry I didn't come from more family trauma. Like I couldn't ask for better parents. And now I kind of use it as like an anti-comedy thing. Like I had too much support or so, like, but for probably 10 years, I wanted to avoid all talk about my parents. They're still together and they love each other and they loved me. And like that was, I was really embarrassed by that.
mine are still together. I grew up in a great house. We have everything we needed, but rarely anything you just wanted.
That's
like
good. Yeah.
you had to earn it, which I now look at as a parent, like that's the best way to raise a kid. And like my parents are still together. I not like a family full of like arrests or drug addictions or like anything. I'm the youngest, so maybe it was a kind of getting an attention thing,
Yeah.
but my whole family thought it was bizarre that I was doing it because I was so quiet around them.
So they weren't like, you didn't huddle around the TV to watch Carson or Evening at the Improv or what was your, like, who were your early?
My mom got me into stand-up.
How so?
Her and I used to watch like stand-up stuff on the family room TV. So like Gallagher, because he's from Tampa and like
nice.
Went to the high school. Like,
that was one of the first shows I went to. It was family friendly.
By the way, he's cuckoo now, but like not as bad as people remember. Like he's pretty good.
Oh yeah, very entertaining, especially when you're 8 years old or whatever. Like it's
well, and then
fun.
our generation was Chappelle's show making fun of it, made him corny. And it's like he was pretty good. I mean, he's a prop comic, but like he had a good act.
And he was before really anyone else. So things can become unoriginal once they're done a million times, but someone has to be the first to do it.
Right. And now I think he's still feuding with Gallagher too, his little brother.
Yeah.
He sold his act to and then wanted it back. I remember a lot of Tommy Davidson. I remember a lot of Dana Carvey stand up.
Oh, he was a perfect just like comedic performer. He killed it on SNL. And then you could watch him do stand up and he was a great joke writer.
I argue he's the best SNL cast member ever, but recency bias will change that.
Yeah. I mean, I might say Phil Hartman, but I'm not going to be mad at you for saying Dana Carvey.
If we're talking about an all around utility player, I'm going to get into Mel Kiper.
Yeah.
If we're talking about a 5-tool guy, he could do everything, and they put him in every sketch. At one point, Phil is one of the best too. I get in arguments. Will Ferrell. I put Kristen Wiig in my top 3 too. But I'm saying like we would sit down and I didn't really understand a lot of it when you're really young, like stand up. But I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, making people laugh. I whether I consciously got it, that it feels good to make people laugh. Now you get way too inception in your brain about the psychology of it. Like, am I doing this just for me? Or am I genuinely doing it, or both? Blah, blah, blah. All that stuff. You can run in circles that way. But yeah, she still goes to stand-up shows. She'll go to see Ron White, and she's like the mom that doesn't let you say fart in her house still.
Right. That's like, funny because my mom is incredibly religious. Like she was, and I believe it. Like she was like on her way to the convent when she was as a kid, goes to mass every day. And I remember, gosh, probably 15 years ago, maybe longer, she couldn't wait till Wanda Sykes was at the Improv because like she was this huge Wanda Sykes fan. So I mean, that shows just a small example of what I love about stand-up. I mean, it can take people that you think, all right, they have nothing in common, and it's not true. Like they
bring
do
them into your world, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of business too. It's like business is psychology. A lot of stand-up is behavioral. Like I would say most comics understand, like observe behavior a lot. I'd say that's the majority of what people are talking about, or their own story. And then the point of view of everybody else seeing that, like you don't need to have the same walk of life to really love the comedy. Actually, if you really break down the basics of comedy, I took like Second City writing classes in LA just to get better at stand-up. Really, I took Groundlings classes. Best thing, if any younger person's listening, take improv classes.
They're expensive, but they're worth it. I say, and they're fun. They're really
But
fun.
It teaches you how to have fun in conversations that normally are very droll. You know, like, you know, you start building characters of people because people dress the way they do, they act the way they do for certain reasons. It's mimicking behavior, you know, like a lot of stuff, but you can yes and any conversation. It also helps a lot in business, I think.
I mean, the number one skill in improv is listening, and that always helps.
Well, now they really call it active listening.
Active,
you know?
okay.
Well, I mean, I don't know what the difference is really. I hear
maybe one involves more nodding. I'm actively nodding.
Well, people, you know, I've definitely been in fights with people, arguments with people like, I think you're hearing me, but you're not really listening to me. Like,
Yeah.
I think you could probably repeat it back, but I don't think you're really understanding.
Maybe active listening law means you don't have a cell phone in your hand while the other person is talking.
Yeah. And, you know, that's a thing where it's the best invention of our generation, that phone, but you know, it's a blessing and a curse. I feel like that pendulum's going to swing the other way. I think we haven't hit our addicted point with those yet. I've been trying to write a joke about
They might go the way of cigarettes, you know, where it's like, it's cool and then it's not cool.
Well, I just hope like a younger generation's like being on your phones for boomers or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, like experiencing real life. So
I'm hoping, I mean, I'm sure it's that way with like Twitter and Facebook. Like, I hope it just kind of, not that they don't exist, but they're just less and less part of people's lives.
Well, the data privacy compliance kind of stuff that it's getting talked about a lot more. Thank God. I have a theory with data because I'm all up in marketing data, doing programmatic advertising, or, you know, I can buy email lists from my broker. You know, these things where it's like, we have a lot of data. Thank God. Here's what I think. There's a lot of your data out there right now. But the good news is I think we're in an era where we don't really know how to use it in the nefarious way. Like, it's not always used correctly. It's a lot of data is getting housed, but I don't think it's getting applied correctly a lot of the time, you know, right now. I think that'll change as things tighten up, but, you know, hopefully more people go the way of Apple when it comes to some of that.
And what do you mean by that? Go the way of Apple?
Apple, and this is, if anybody's in marketing and advertising, earlier this year, they tightened up a lot of what you can target from, you know, phones, basically. Like it back in the day, it used to be a free for all, right? You could really do some pretty gangster advertising, targeting interests by device, by device ID, if you had some engagement with the user. But now they're making that kind of shielded off a little bit. So like you can't target really as well as you used to. Basically, marketing is going to be a lot harder.
Unless it's TikTok, and then everything's fair game. It's spyware.
Another really funny existential thing about this is like, you read all these like sci-fi, or you see the movies about all these aliens coming in and they know everything about us, but we're living in a weird era where we're giving it away voluntarily, right? Like, if you look at the privacy policy of TikTok, I mean, you have to have a law degree to really understand it.
Yeah.
But there are things a lot of people can understand. That thing, it'll work in the background on your desktop from your phone. And it can collect a lot of stuff. It's still a Chinese-owned company, which is scary.
Yeah, it's basically, for what I know, an adjunct of the Chinese government.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I can get it. So I'm trying to post more content on my social. If anybody wants to hit me up on LinkedIn or Instagram or any of that, I'll engage with you. But it's one of those things where I'm trying to put more stand-up clips out there because I do a lot of crowd work. But I was just thinking about it. I need to have like the Later app or Hootsuite or something like that. I need because I just post the content and I get off of it.
Mhm.
I've really reduced how much time I spend on it because it's
It's the interacting and the scrolling that are the huge time sucks.
right. And I'm not really happy. I'd rather
Mhm.
like, part of coming up with jokes or anything creative is you need to make yourself bored. Have you been bored in the last 10 years? Right.
Mhm.
Everyone's busy. This is another thing that drives me nuts. People, when people say they're busy and they're goddamn not busy.
Yeah, they've been on Instagram for 4.5 hours that day.
Right. And you want to call them out, but you don't have all the facts. So it's like,
Right.
you're busy. No, I'm busy. You're not. So I'm crazy about efficiency and stuff. But I was like, I need a third party app so I can push content out and then also not get tracked on my stuff as well.
And what is that third party app?
I'm trying out Later is a social media manager app where you can
Okay.
you can do reels from there. You can do LinkedIn posts. I'm trying it out. I test out my tech stack as my nerds.
Very Silicon Valley of you. I like that your tech stack is strong. So you started your own business, which is a rarity in stand-up. It's almost like, having two loving parents. What motivated you to do that?
I got into so moved back here in 2010 to Tampa. I was going on the road as a feature act, an opening act. So working a lot on the road. I was basically, no one knew I moved home. People in
Mhm.
LA, because I worked for a air purifier company out of Pasadena. So I was coming back in town every 6 weeks. So like a lot of the comedy scene didn't know I moved.
Yeah.
That was like, I did this for 2 years and I was going to grad school online before it was cool. And at Auburn's online business school, or distance program, they called it. And so I was doing all three of those things. And then after that, I went to work for a buddy of mine that was making rapper money, doing affiliate marketing, which is
Okay.
is advertising. So you can go on these websites called ClickBank, or there's a bunch of them, and you can go, I'll advertise that product, and for every conversion tracked, I get paid. So
Okay.
the game is, can I spend like $10 per transaction, right? On advertising to get like $20 per conversion. So these guys figured out how to do that. They're kind of former hackers kind of guys. They were, but they weren't like, they were just knock around dudes. They're not like, they weren't like brilliant guys. They were just very good at like by exposing kind of weaknesses in a lot of these advertised platforms. This is 2010, totally
Mhm.
different landscape. And so I worked for these guys. It's not something I could put on my resume, but we were selling green coffee bean extract. Dr. Oz took over Oprah's spot on TV, that 4 o'clock spot, syndicated everywhere. He goes on TV. He says, there's a pill that you can take that'll make you lose weight. And he got reamed in Congress, but he didn't get any of that money. It was all guys like teams like ours
Mhm.
that were making buku dollars selling this garbage like green coffee bean or Garcinia Cambogia. And then these guys started making their own product. So we're selling like 3,000 units a day. And then they go, oh, well, let's make our own product. So they found someone to white label the product for them to make like $2 extra every purchase.
Mhm.
And that's when the FDA came coming down for like 25 million. I'm talking, this is a boiler room operation. I went to the office. I was like, I saw Mountain of credit cards. I saw their accountant storm out that they used to fly in every week. And I was like, and they put me at a warehouse to do all this. Like I had to hire Craigslist crackheads that would all tell each other that they're doing drugs in the bathroom. And I'm like, I don't want to talk to any of you guys. I'm going to stay
Yeah.
in the office of the warehouse and I'm not going to have contact with you guys. Just package the stuff, put it on the truck. I'll take it to USPS. And so I had to but it was like, I had to figure out like, oh, I don't know anything about logistics, but it's like entrepreneurship, figure stuff out. Right.
Mhm.
And also use your intuition. Like I could tell they're not going to let me be a partner in this team at that point. And I was like, I got to go find something else. So long story, but I got into digital advertising. And then I say like LeBron, when he came in the league, right? He would add a thing to his game every year. So I would kind of do that. I would try to like, okay, I need to be well-versed in everything, like website development, website design, design theory, SEO, content, all the things you need out of a full service agency. I wanted to know if I wasn't like, I'm not a graphic designer, but I can concept. So I need to know enough to be able to manage those. I know a little programming, but I wouldn't call myself a programmer. So I need to know how to communicate with those specialists, right? So things like that, automation, API, stuff like that. So I tried to just add every skill I could. And if I was limited naturally, I didn't press too hard to kind of go that way. I just go, all right, I want to be able to manage an agency at some point. And there's so many specialties now for a full service agency that you really have to be a good project manager, a good manager, like intrapersonal manager, and wrangle freelancers too. Because my idea was like, I don't want to hire full time because that's how agencies implode.
From spending too much time hiring?
No, there's too many specialties. So
Oh gosh.
we call it the $35,000 unicorn on our show. So you'll see a job for a marketing coordinator or something like that. And it's literally like 17 different things they need. They need an email marketer. They need a relationship marketing strategist. They need a content creator. They need social media. They need paid media, which is like online ads, social media ads, whatever. That the person doesn't exist at 35 grand. So it's like,
add a zero after that and maybe you'll get,
And so the skill I really try to push. I call it client conditioning. I really try to tell them how to manage me, right? You're managing me. I'm managing the people I picked to work on your retainer or your project. But I want you, because a lot of people think management is innate, kind of like marketing or a sense of humor, right? Like everybody thinks they know it and they have a good sense of humor, good taste in music. But
yeah, we're all above average drivers kind of thing.
Oh, that's the most insane. And like, managing people it's a real skill. I think it's overlooked. And I think a lot of people don't formally look for that education on how to get better. The other thing is anybody young listening to this, we say this on our show all the time. I've learned so much by just being patient and watching YouTube videos. A lot of it's finding the right one.
Yeah.
It could be technical, like how to code something, or it can just be like, here's a good podcast about management, or about servant leadership or something like that. Right. Which I believe in.
Well, you bring up a good point. I mean, for young people out there, or just people who might want to alter their career path. I mean, what skills do you think are the most valuable to those looking to get into digital marketing?
I think a lot of people are poor at communicating. Now we have more ways to do it than ever, but I think we're atrophying that way. I think all clients care about is results a lot of the time. It's your job to get in the minutia of that funnel of how you're getting those results, right? But it's like, they'll be like, I've seen emails sometimes that are just like so sloppy. They're typos. It's to an important person, I've really kind of gone to an asynchronistic way to I do video. So if I do a proposal for a client now, I write it up. I kind of do a bespoke one. I put a project management chart of it. I put a funnel. Here's the tactics we're going to do. But then I'll record myself doing video notes as a supplement to it. It's optional if they want to look at it, fine.
Mm-hmm.
I put the transcript in there if they want to read it. But I don't want to waste their time. So it's kind of like a mini podcast. They can listen to this wherever they are. And like, but I want to make sure I'm comprehensive, but I don't want to waste their time at the same time. So it's like an efficient way to do it. I think that'll be the next thing. I think like if you can send a video of like, if you're managing people and I just delegate out and I'm sending a one-way video, they're at the end of the day, they're sending me what they did, or at the end of the week or something, or they're having trouble here. Here's a screenshot of where I'm having trouble. I think finding those ways to communicate and finding the empathy of who you're talking to, right? A programmer, they speak very zeros and ones is the best way I can explain it. Very cut and dry. They're going to get into very technical stuff a lot. That's superfluous. Your creative people you're going to talk to, they're not going to be so technical. On the whole, usually. Graphic designers are very flaky. So you have to kind of stay on top of them. You know, business is psychology. If you really break down any business, no matter how big, it's going to break down to psychology and behavior. And the better you kind of understand and observe that, I think entrepreneurship is like golf. The game's between your ears. It's, and that's, you know, that's where I failed. I had a marriage I thought I was messing up, and my agency dwindled because I couldn't keep my brain straight, because I thought I was messing up our team, you know.
Yeah.
Now I'm reviving everything because I'm out of that muck.
Nice.
So Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good.
You can't take me any lower into any mental prison. I was depressed. I was like, oh, this is what the comics talk about. Like not being able to physically get up. You know, I felt so guilty that I was messing up my family that we just started. But really, I was burned out. I wasn't sleeping because we had 2 babies 13 months apart. And one of them, the older one, we thought was having night terrors. Turns out his tonsils were inflamed. So he'd skip a breath. So I'm averaging 3 hours of sleep a lot.
Okay. Yeah, that'll do it.
A lot of weeks. And I'm trying to run a business. We never took a loan, outside money, outside capital. So I did it all on hustle. Because I pride myself on being able to out hustle people. C+ student, but I can work harder.
A+ hustle.
You know.
Well, that's what we're concluding, but I think hustle is such an underrated attribute. Well,
don't buy into the hustle culture. That stuff's
okay. Well,
like the Gary V, like you just get out there and do it. Like it
well,
doesn't.
What's the appropriate amount of like what would you want people to learn?
It doesn't have to be manic. It doesn't have to be like Red Bulls and like cocaine energy. Like it doesn't have to be that way. Like the most successful people I look up to are very calm. They take their time. It's really about like, all right, with stand up. I was just talking to my dad about this. I have to go to a funeral. We're all going to it. I go, I'm going to get there probably like 30 minutes early. And he's like, well, that's really early. I was like, I don't want to mess with like worrying about parking. I'm in a black suit. It's hot. You know, it's so hot outside that I'll look like I'm lying because I'll be just sweating everywhere. And so I was like, I'll get there early. I was like, any 20-minute pocket of time, I always have something to fill it up with, right? So if I'm waiting in the church or in the synagogue, I should say, for this example, and I'm aggressively early, like a dad does sometimes, but you don't want to be late to that.
Right.
Weddings and funerals, those
be
are
on time.
Yeah. You can be aggressively early. Barbecue, not so much. My thing was like, I can write jokes for 20 minutes on a pen and a pad. I carry it around, or I can think, I'll think of like, what can I do in this pocket of time that might be productive? You know, I got to come up with a brand name for this, or I'm wearing a tank top. If anybody sees, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers logo mashed into one. We're putting tank tops on our sweatequitypod.com store. So that's a fun exercise in creativity, like making the Mayor Rob Ford drink. Like sometimes they have a purpose for you to make money. Sometimes it's just a good Wordle brain exercise. But like, I would say, the best thing you can really do, and people don't do it, and it took me a while to do it, is you write out a goals list. What do you want to do the rest of this year? Right now, if anybody's listening, you got, 4 months left. What do you want to get done in these 4 months? What do you want to do long term? You really need to sit down and make SMART goals. It's like, God, I forget the acronym. It'll come to me. The M's measurable, attainable, like relevant, timely, and the S is for smart. No, you can't have a smart in a smart acronym.
Well,
But
if you hit those first few, I think you can just avoid the S entirely.
like a goal isn't like I want to go to church more. That's not a goal. Like you got to go. I'm going to go 3 out of the 4 Sundays a month.
Be specific about it. Yeah.
Right. It has a measurable goal. Right. That's where people really mess up.
If you can't measure it, you can't management philosophy.
Look, I'm dad fat right now because I won't throw away kid food. I'm too cheap, but I gotta start doing that because I ballooned out, not realizing it. So I got the MyFitnessPal app, and I feel stupid for having it because I've never needed anything like that. But I'm plugging in everything I'm eating, and I'm like, oh, this was bad. This was bad.
Yeah, I hate that app for that reason.
Yeah, but it's measurable, and it keeps. And what happens is when you write these goals out, you reverse engineer how to get there, and you go, and then it kind of crystallizes it for you, right? Your brain goes, oh yeah, I'm trying to write a book this year. I'm still like, when I have those free thought times, I'm like, all right, I should find a pocket of time today to write. I should find I got to chip away at these things. So chip away at your goals. It's really the long game,
Yeah, incremental improvements. I think I'm not the first to say that, but it'll go long.
Yeah, marginal gains. I just say marginal gains every day.
Marginal gains.
Yeah.
Well, we could talk we'll have to have you back. But
wait, one last thing. And we work in minutes as comics.
Yes.
This is real quick. Here's a real piece of pragmatic advice. I did it. My mentor tried to tell me to do it. And I was like, I've already done this for 10 years. On a piece of notebook paper in the morning, your to-do list. Write on the left-hand side, write every 15 minutes of the day. Write out your 15 minutes, right? So every line's 15 minutes. Then write what you're going to do for the day, right? Pretty simple. This takes 5 minutes, right? I got to do this hour meeting. That takes those 4 lines, chunk it out like that. And then at the end of the day, what'd you get done? And like, I time track everything in my life. I'm kind of obsessed with this now, but I do it with an AI app that works in the background. But it's one of those things that everybody has the same amount of time, right? Successful people figure out how to be really efficient. So when we were doing gigs, driving to Tustin to do an open mic on a Tuesday night, I'd be rolling calls to friends because I'm that guy. I'll randomly call a lot of friends on the phone. This is a good time to talk to friends on the phone.
Sure.
And not just be mad. I'm driving
in traffic.
Right. Or, or work on jokes or something. Like you can kind of multitask or spin plates, as I like to think about it.
I like that. So you're a wealth of knowledge, Lawsmith. Where can people learn more about you?
Lawsmithworks.com is my site. If anybody needs kind of strategy advising or, marketing, strategy, architecture, modeling. My agency site is Tocobaga, And then our podcast, sweatequitypod.com.
Check it all out. Lost Smith, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for letting me look cool with my sunglasses on the whole time. I look like Sam Rothstein in Casino. Only pick the winners.